Hi, my name is Catalina Querida, and I am co-founder and sometimes director and mostly editor and sometimes production manager and general get shit done person of Little Spark Films. We're based out of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, and our team compromises several creators from the Dallas Metroplex, Fort Worth Metroplex, generally all over Texas, and even overseas in the UK, Greece, India, just kind of everywhere. First got interested in horror, well, I guess probably a really long time ago. I'm one of those musical theater nerds that loves Phantom of the Opera and everything, and that was like my first introduction into spooky things. Also, I'm Mexican, so it just kind of happens. But I stumbled into actually working in the industry. I was in a band with my husband called Aristo Scat. It was supposed to be like classy trash was the theme, and it's very very silly. At the time, though, we weren't doing anything film related, and we were just working on music videos with some other filmmakers that we had hired, and we kept on running into issues with simple things like, the audio not being synced up, but also big things like they said that they could do one thing, and then when they delivered it, they were like, we never said that, even if we had it in writing or whatever. So I said to my husband, Joe, I was like, dude, you went to school for video production. You know how to do this. Let's just buy a camera and do it. And so we did. Our first project was Dollhouse for Aristoscat, and it's a mess. I'm in it. I get killed by a clown. I know, very unique. But it was fun because we got to play with lighting, and I got to get dressed up, and we got to do silly things like throw blood past the camera while I was getting murdered. So it was really cool because we got to experiment with a lot of stuff. And then a few months later, there was a just general call for a film festival in Dallas that was going to be at the Historic Texas Theater. That's a theater in Dallas where they caught Lee Harvey Oswald, so it's pretty cool. You can even like go and look at the chair that he was sitting in when he was caught. Anyway, so the film festival called Bloodbath Film Festival was going to be at the Texas Theater, and I told Joe once again, hey, we want to do narratives, so why don't we just go ahead and throw something together, and at least we will have done it, and we will have tried, because really, the best thing I think you can do is just try. So we put a script together based on an idea he had, and played chess multiple times because it's a story about a underground chess match. I don't know if that exists or not. I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, it was about an underground chess match where every time you lose a piece, you lose one of your fingers. I know the stipulations, I don't even remember, it's been several years. The stipulations is once you lose your pawns is when you start losing important fingers, like your hand and things like that. We filmed that at the same place that we filmed Dollhouse, and we did that in one afternoon. And once again, it was a complete and utter mess. But we learned a lot. We learned a lot about dealing with acting because it was mostly our friends that were acting, so they were really sweet and put up with us trying to figure things out. And we shot on a Vixia, a Canon Vixia. It's like a point and shoot. So obviously we were not able to get, what we imagined in our heads, but we got it done in time and sent in, and it screened at the Texas Theater. And I'm still pretty happy with it. Like, I'm happy with the story. I think that the story got across. It just didn't look like what I wanted it to look like. But since then, we've done a lot of other projects, and from both every project, we learned something new, which I think is important. So Little Spark Films has been in operation for about 7 years, give or take. And like I said, the first project was Dollhouse, and then we did the Black Room, which was what the chess one was called. We got hired by a local spaghetti western band called the Manco Pancho, and that was our first paid music video, which was really cool. I very much so miss them. They don't perform anymore, but they have awesome music. And since then, we've kind of just done a little bit of everything. For the past 3 or 4 years, Texas Frightmare Weekend has had a fun event that they throw on Sundays called the Fake Trailer Showcase, and it was put together by Billy Pond of Circus of the Dead, which just got re-released from Bloody Disgusting, and Chuck Norfolk and Courtney Sandifer, who did Schools Out, which is on Prime, and then their latest film, Life Insurance Lottery, is available on Vimeo. And they're really great filmmakers who support Texas film. They support independent film just out of anywhere. Like if you have an idea, they're like, yes, go do it. And they're really amazing people to know and to have around. So I've done the Fake Trailer Showcase every year since, and I have the one for this year. It's just going to get rolled over into next year. And I might do another 2 or 3 because they're very fun. It's a minute and a half, I want to say, to 2.5 minutes long. And you just come up with a little something, and then you get to play it at Frightmare on Sunday mornings. Everyone's hungover, but everyone has a good time. like you do at Frightmare. And that a few years ago, I did one called Silly Dilly, Why So Killy? It had to be zombie themed that year. It was the year that George Romero passed away. So they decided to make it all in honor of the king of the zombies. And I came up with a zombie dildo, and it's really ridiculous and has like a chest bursting thing, and it's silly. It's so silly. Well, of course, that's the name. But the cool thing about it is that we got to work with Lloyd Kaufman because of it, because I sent it in to him, and I was like, hey, I know you're going to be in town this weekend. I don't know if you happen to have 3 or 4 hours to help us with our fake trailer this year. Here's several examples of previous fake trailers. And he really liked Silly Dilly. I still don't know why. So we were able to work with him, and we made a thing called Murder Balls. That was my husband's project, but it was still really fun to be able to help out on that one. And because of that, we were able to meet our new cinematographer, Jorg, and he helped us with our biggest project to date, which is called The Torture. And The Torture is written by Paul Kane. Hold on, I should have prepared this better. Paul Kane. This is called Sherlock Holmes and the Servants of Hell. It's a Sherlock Holmes and Hellraiser crossover. I'm sure you can tell. Hellraiser. So for The Torture, we were lucky enough to get to work with Paul T. Taylor of Hellraiser Judgment and Lawrence Farnado of Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, and we were able to get that done, and the poster is currently a finalist for the Shockfest poster competition. And then my personal project, Cursed Item PSA, which was actually an extension of this year's fake trailer, is a finalist for the Horror Movie Awards in the short film division. So we have a lot of stuff going on. We also do videos for configurationboxes.com and Pyramid Gallery. This one's my favorite. And they're Hellraiser-inspired boxes. Those are called the Hellbound Laments. And those are 13 micro shorts. But I wrote and directed 4 of them. And then I did a lot of the writing on a few of them as well. So lots of projects. Obviously, lots of Hellraiser. But just a general horror is what we try to stick with. So back to Texas Frightmare Weekend. They do also have on Saturday. They have a series called Texas Fright Makers, and it specifically is for making films. And the first year that we went, which is about 5-6 years ago, 5-6 years ago at this point, I went and I sat in all of those because we were still really, really new. I mean, I still consider myself new, but anyway, it was super, super new. And one of the most important piece that I brought away from the day was specifically to finish all your work. So we have done, oh my gosh, so many projects. I haven't even counted. I get overwhelmed sometimes. We've done a lot of projects, but every single one has always been finished. Like, even if it's something that I wasn't completely happy with, I would still say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. And if people like it, then they do. And a lot of times people do. Like, people are very understanding and they're very forgiving. And I think that if you really lean into whatever style that you're going for, then it shows that you're dedicated, and also shows that you care about that specific style. So, like, for example, The Torturer, which is brand new, is completely different from even like my cursed item PSA, because my cursed item PSA is like on a DSLR, and we did it in like 3 hours, and we just completely like had no script and we just went. And it's really cheesy and it's like very punk rock. And then like, The Torturer, we had a lot of pre-production, shot this really amazing Red Dragon camera, and it's like in 6K and ridiculous. So whatever project it is that you're working on, I would say just go into it and just do it. Like, just full blown, just commit yourself. Yeah. Being committed. Commit yourself to your project. Because I think that everybody has an audience. You just kind of need to find it. So, women in horror. Well, of course, you've got Mary Shelley, who, my daughter, actually, we just watched Frankenstein with her, that Universal Monsters, the James Whale Universal Monsters ones, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. And I was like, hey, a lady wrote that. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's pretty crazy because women weren't even really writers. They would have to pretend to be men to be writers. And at the time, it was very, very forward thinking, and she was the person who invented this whole putting the body parts together to make a human, and she just thought that was really awesome. So of course, Mary Shelley. I respect Barbie Wilde. She is the female Cenobite from Hellraiser Hellbound. She is an author. She's gone back and made her own personal origin story of the female Cenobite, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, like, she basically owns that character now, which is awesome because she's the person that everyone thinks of when you think of the female Cenobite. She's very, very sweet, and she is incredibly intelligent and well-spoken. I would mess up there. She's incredibly well-spoken. Catherine Bigelow. I love Strange Days. Like, that movie just messes with me. But the thing I love about Catherine Bigelow is that she knows what she wants, which is something that I have a problem with. I'm very indecisive, but she is direct and she knows what she wants. So that is definitely something that I aspire to. I aspire to being more direct and being better about saying, this is exactly what I want for this idea and for this character and for this situation. And then my weird one is Sarah Brightman. I think most horror people would, I guess, know her from Repo, the Genetic Opera, Blind Mag. But I have always idolized her since I was a kid, back to Phantom of the Opera. And as far as current projects, I've got the Hellbound Laments. Those are still going. They're every Sunday. And we'll put the YouTube link below. And then I have that Cursed Item PSA. I made a fake trailer that's, I dubbed it Demon Metal Murder 5 because that was literally the most ridiculous thing I could come up with at the time. So that's what we went with. I also sing and do burlesque, and most of the time my stuff has either a film angle to it or horror, or a little bit of both.